Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Gnanatimirandasya Gyananjana Salakaya Chakshustamay Sri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kada Mahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Yutapatakamalam Sri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Sri Rupam Sagrijatam Saganaragunatanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padan Sagana Lalita Sri Visakanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindho Deenabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वंशाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानं पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः नमः विष्णुपदाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्तस्वामिन्निति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौरभक्तवृंद हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयम् उदीरयेत् शृण्वतं स्वाकथा कृष्ण पुण्यश्रवणकीर्तन हृद्यन्तस्थो भद्राणि विदुनोति सुहृत्सतां नस्तप्रायेष्वभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भागवति उत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी. Before reciting the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, which is the very means of conquest, one should offer respectful obeisances unto the personality of Godhead, Narayana, unto Nara Narayana Rishi, the supermost human being, unto Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and unto Srila Vyasadeva, the author. Shri Krishna, the personality of Godhead, who is the Paramatma super soul in everyone's heart and the benefactor of the truthful devotee, cleanses desire for material enjoyment from the heart of the devotee who has developed the urge to hear his messages, which are in themselves virtues when properly heard and chanted. By regular attendance in classes on the Bhagavatam and by rendering of service to the pure devotee, all that is troublesome to the heart is almost completely destroyed. A loving service unto the personality of Godhead, who is praised with transcendental songs, is established as an irrevocable fact. Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam ki jai, Śrīla Prabhupada ki jai. Canto 1, Chapter 18, Text number 35. Krishne gate bhagavati shastre patagaminam tadbinna shetunnadyam shasmi pashyata me balam. Krishna, Lord Krishna, Gate, having departed from this world, Bhagavati, the personality of Godhead, Shastari, the supreme ruler, Shastari, Utpatagaminam, of those who are upstarts, Tadbinna, being separated, Setun, the protector, Adya, today, Aham, myself, Shasmi, shall punish, Pashyata, just see, Me, my, Balam, prowess. Translation. After the departure of Lord Shri Krishna, the personality of Godhead and supreme ruler of everyone, these upstarts have flourished, all protector being gone. Therefore I myself shall take up this matter and punish them. Just witness my power. Purport. The inexperienced Brahmana, puffed up by a little Brahmateja, became influenced by the spell of Kali Yuga. Maharaj Parikshit gave license to Kali to live in 4 places as mentioned herein before. But by his very expert government, the personality of Kali could hardly find the places allotted to him. The personality of Kali Yuga was therefore seeking the opportunity to establish authority, and by the grace of the Lord he found a hole in the puffed up, inexperienced son of a Brahmana. The little Brahmana wanted to show his prowess in destruction, and he had the audacity to punish a great king like a Maharaj Parikshit. He wanted to take the place of Lord Krishna after his departure. These are the principal signs of upstarts who want to take the place of Sri Krishna under the influence of the age of Kali. An upstart with a little power wants to become an incarnation of the Lord. There are many false incarnations after the departure of Lord Krishna from the face of the globe, and they are misleading the innocent public by accepting the spiritual obedience of the general mass of people to maintain false prestige. In other words, the personality of Kali got the opportunity to reign through the son of a Brahmana, Sringi. Text number 36. Ityuktva roshatam raksho vayasyan rishi balaka kausikyapa upasprishya vagvajram vishasarjaha. Iti thus uktva, saying roshatam raksha with red hot eyes due to being angry. Vayasyan, unto the playmates. Rishi Balaka, the son of a rishi. Kaushiki, the river Kaushika. Apaha, water. Upasprishya, by touching. Vak, words. Vajram, thunderbolt. Visasarja, through, in the past. Translation by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. The son of the rishi, his eyes red hot with anger, touched the water of the river Kaushika while speaking to his playmates and discharged the following thunderbolt of words. Purport. The circumstance under which Maharaj Parikshit was cursed were simply childish, as it appears from this verse. Sringi was showing his impudency amongst his playmates, who were innocent. Any sane man would have prevented him from doing such great harm to all human society. This is like a child playing with a gun. He wants to show the gun to his friends and then he accidentally shoots someone. By killing a king like Maharaj Parikshit just to make a show of acquired Brahmanical powers, then the inexperienced son of a Brahmana committed a great mistake. Okay, who wants to read the next verse?
I'll read, Prabhu.
Yes, bro.
Text 37. Iti langita maryadam takshakaha saptamehani dangshyati sma pulangaram chodito me tata druham. Synonyms. Iti thus langita surpassing, maryadam etiquette, takshakaha snake bird, saptame on the 7th, ahani day, dangshyati will bite, sma certainly, kula angaram the wretched of the dynasty, choditaha having done, may by, tata druham enmity towards the father. Translation purport by His Divine Grace His Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai.
Jai.
Translation. The Brahmana's son cursed the king thus. On the 7th day from today, a snake bird will bite the most wretched one of that dynasty Maharaj Parikshit because of his having broken the laws of etiquette by insulting my father. Purport. Thus, the beginning of the misuse of Brahmanical power began, and gradually the Brahmanas in the age of Kali became devoid of both Brahmanical powers and culture. The Brahmana boy considered Maharaj Parikshit to be Kulangara or the wretched of the dynasty. But factually, the Brahmana boy himself was so because from him only the Brahmana caste became powerless, like the snake whose poisoned teeth are broken. The snake is fearful as long as his poison teeth are there. Otherwise, he is fearful only to children. The personality of Kali conquered the Brahmana boy first and gradually the other castes. Thus, the whole scientific system of the orders of society in this age has assumed the form of a vitiated caste system, which is now uh, being uprooted by another class of men similarly influenced by the age of Kali. One should see to the root cause of vitiation and not try to condemn the system as it is without knowledge of its scientific value. Text 38. तोभ्येतयाश्रमं बालो गले सर्प कलेवरं पितरं वीक्ष्य दुष् दुःखा दुःखार्तो मुख कंठो रुरोदहो synonyms. ततः thereafter abhyetya abhyetya after entering into ashramam the hermitage balaha boy gale sarpa the snake on the shoulder kalevaram boy pitaram unto the father vikshya having seen dukhartaha in a sorry plight mukha kantaha loudly ruroda cried ha in the past. Translation. Thereafter, when the boy returned to the hermitage, he saw a snake on his father's shoulder, and out of his grief, he carried very loudly. Purport. The boy was not happy because he committed a great mistake, and he wanted to be relieved of the burden on his heart by crying. So, after entering the hermitage and seeing his father in that condition, he cried loudly so that he might be relieved. But it was too late. The father regretted the whole incidents. Text 39. Tava angiraro raso brahman srutva suta विलापनम् उन्मील्य शनङ्कैर्नेत्रे दृष्ट्वा चांसे मृतोरगम् सः he why also Angirasaha the rishi born in the family of Angira Brahmana O Saunaka Srutva on hearing Suta, his son, Vilapanam, crying in distress, Unmilya, opening, Shanakai, gradually, Netre, by the eyes, Drishtva, by seeing, Cha, also, Amse, on the shoulder, Mruta, dead, Uragam, snake. Translation. O Brahmanas, the Rishi, who was born in the family of Angira Muni, hearing his son crying gradually opened his eyes and saw the dead snake around his neck. Text 40. Visrijyatancha papracha vatsa kasmadhi rodishi kena vate pakritam ityuktah sa nyavedat yat. Synonyms. Visrijya, throwing aside, tam, that, cha, also, apracha, asked, Vatsa, my dear son, Kasmat, what for? He, certainly, Rodishi, crying, Kena, by whom? Va, otherwise, they, apakritam, misbehaved. Iti, thus, Uktaha, being asked, Saha, the boy, Nyavedayat, informed of everything. Translation: He threw the dead snake aside and asked his son why he was crying, whether anyone had done him harm. On hearing this, the son explained to him what happened. Purport: The father did not take the dead snake on his neck very seriously. He simply threw it away. Actually, there was nothing seriously wrong in Maharaj's Parikshit act, but the foolish son took it very seriously and, being influenced by Kali, he cursed the king and thus ended a chapter of happy history. One second, Prabhu. Can you go back to the purport, previous purport? See, actually, there was nothing seriously wrong in Maharaj Parikshit's act. I don't know, Prabhu. In fact, how to understand this part. But whatever Maharaj Parikshit did was absolutely insult to that sage who was in trance, who was meditating. But why was Maharaj Parshit treated as as a person who did not do any sin at all to that sage?
It
We need
was
to
not.
get this.
It was like a joke, Prabhu. It was not like insult, cause the person was meditating. I think he was meditating on Vishnu, so he was in so deep trance, and the king knew it, but he still, because he was not received properly. He was thirsty. He was not received. So he was not really insulted, but he saw the dead snake here, there, and it was kind of like, joke. But the sage didn't take it seriously.
No, in
But
fact, the sages would never take anything seriously, okay, unless it is a absolute crime, okay, grave crime, okay.
yes,
But here, when you place a dead snake around a person, okay, let us understand, let us take that person as an ordinary person, not a sage, okay. Even then, it has to be considered as an insult, okay. You cannot place a dead skin around a person,
yes,
anyone.
but it was not for nothing. It was for the person not receiving him. If you don't receive the king, you're actually eligible to be punished to die. You're supposed to be killed. So it was something small, and I think the sage also knew he didn't receive the king. So I think he was blessed that the king at least did something. He's not getting some huge punishment for this. He was not really seeing that the king was there. He was not attentive, so he did a big mistake. But the king did something small. He put the snake, not a big thing. Now it's like zeroed. But the child was like, "Oh no, it's not zeroed. I'm gonna kill the king." So this is what happened. This is how I understand it. So they both did offense to each other. So it kind of zeroes the thing. Of course, we can speculate whose offense is bigger, the Brahmana's offense to the king or the king's offense to the Brahmana, but it doesn't really matter in this case because the child anyway cursed the king.
In fact, that curse was really harsh, okay. For this crime, for this offense, in fact, the punishment should not be that
Yes,
strict or strong,
yes,
okay.
it should have been something
But yeah,
mild,
that's
but it
true. But
was,
here, if you look at that second sentence, you look at this. Actually, there was nothing seriously wrong
yes, Pram.
in Maharaj's acts, but it was something definitely to be considered as an offense to that sage. Okay.
But yeah, it's offense, but in that circumstance, it's not wrong. Because if he did not do anything as a king, if you go somewhere as a king and you're offended and you don't do anything, you're seen as a weak king. So he had to do something, but he didn't want to kill the Brahmana, but something he had to do. So he just saw the snake and he saw the opportunity. And this was also Krishna's arrangement, so he would hear the Bhagavatam. So So it was not really wrong in a sense, but of course it was an offense toward the Brahmana. But I understand what you mean. It's kind of how you understand the wording.
In fact, the sage was not in a proper position to receive him because he was meditating. Okay, he was not doing any offense to the king in this in at this point of time. But
Yes,
I'm not sure.
but
But
the
I'm
king
not sure.
in previously in the it was said that the king thought that he's playing, that is acting. He was thinking like this, that he's acting to so he won't have to receive him. It was said in the purport previously that he was thinking like
No,
this.
no, no. I remember it. But let us assume even the sage was acting okay without receiving him properly. Okay, but was he really allowed to place a dead snake around him? You should not see as per the scriptures. You should never insult a sage or guru or anyone who guides you properly on the spiritual path. Okay, but here, even though he was not in a right position to receive him, he did something wrong, definitely. But
Yes,
anyhow, let us.
but this because you
I
can
think the
also
word is
say that.
Yeah,
seriously wrong, Prabhu. That is the word. It's some wrong is there, but not seriously wrong.
Yes, Prabhu. But this was also because this was on providence. This had to happen because we know Parikshit Maharaj is perfect. He's perfect devotee and perfect character, but he had to do something so that he would have to die. He had to do something so that the Bhagavatam would be spoken. So there
mm,
had to be something like this. So that's why it's not really wrong because if you're similarly like Arjuna, he has to kill his family and those. Is it wrong or is it not wrong? It is seriously wrong. He should not kill his family. But Krishna says you kill them, so is it wrong or is it not wrong?
no, 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 no. In fact, we cannot compare that instance with this one. Okay, the reason is, see, all the Pandavas were exiled. Okay, by Kauravas totally. Okay, they were thrown out of their kingdom. Okay, their wife was insulted. Okay, if you consider all those instances, whatever Pandavas did to Kauravas was not at all an offense, was not at all something wrong at all. Okay, but here in this case, the sage did not insult the Maharaj Parikshit at all. The reason why he did not receive him was only because he was meditating. He was not in this world at all, psychologically. Okay, but even though Maharaj did not know about it, but he should not have done that at all. He should not. He could have left that place calmly. But anyhow, we can understand that it's the what to say, it's the it's the act done by the Lord, okay, to preach Bhagavatam to the entire world. Okay,
Yes, Prabhu.
it's okay, it was the situation created by God. Okay,
Yes, Prabhu.
but whatever Parikshit did was absolutely wrong. Okay, and moreover it was done to a sage. He
But
was not an ordinary person.
but we could say that if he did not do it, it would be more wrong. If he had not done that, and it was planned by the Lord, and he did not follow, then it would have been more wrong, I think.
Sorry, Prabhu.
If Maharaj Parikshit did not place the snake on the Brahmana,
Mm.
that would have been more wrong than if he did not. Because then the
Yes,
Bhagavatam
Prabhu.
would
I
have
think
not been spoken, and because he knew, because these persons, they know past, present, and future. It's not just that they live in the moment. They know already that what will happen, so they can see the future and like do predictive actions. So he already knew that if I do this, the Bhagavatam will be spoken. So he had to do that. Because if he had not done that, what? Because the one small insult to the Brahmana or the big insult of not delivering the Bhagavatam, which one is like more wrong? One can think like that also.
But let us assume, Swami Prabhu, I come to Finland, I visit your home. Okay.
Yes.
While you are doing some arti or some kind of kirtan. Okay. You don't receive me properly. Then
Yes.
should I do something to you? Like like what Parikshit did.
But Prabhu, I think it was an influence, right? It was the energy, the new energy coming in. It was actually an influence. Even the Brahmana knew that Maharaj Parikshit did not do it on his own. He was actually in play, like he was influenced by Kali on top of his crown, something like that.
Lebanon Prabhu, that's true. In fact, whatever we do in our daily activities is influenced by something or other, like Kali or God or Krishna, whatever it may be.
Prabhu,
Okay, so we cannot escape
we
this act by saying that it is influenced by some personality,
Yes, Prabhu.
not by me.
yes, Prabhu.
But but it's really different
But
because
Prabhu, it's like let's say even the modes, Prabhu, because that's why I heard there was such a scripture that we do not actually kind of like control ourselves. We are controlled by the three modes. Only devotees are free from the three
but
modes.
Maharaj
And
Parikshit
above.
was not under the control of the three modes, so this is
Yes,
different.
yes, absolutely.
Because he
Yes,
could
he was
even
not.
save himself from dying, right, before 7 days, but then he knew that it was actually his duty.
Yes, Prabhu. Because he never
But I
did
think,
anything to offend any brahmanas, and this action was not done in the mood of offending also.
Mm.
So it was not really to offend.
yes, Prabhu.
But anyhow, in the
'Cause I
next verses, he would realize that he did something wrong to the sage. Okay,
Yes.
he regretted his act as well. We'll just go through those verses as well later on,
Yes.
maybe this in this chapter or maybe next chapter. I don't remember it exactly.
Prabhu, and I think the person who cursed Maharaj Parikshit, it was actually showing us that now that we are in the age of Kali, the Brahmanas, they're going to decline, like fake gurus will come in, things like that.
Yes, Prabhu. But did that Brahmana child, the Shringi, did he feel? I don't remember. Did he feel like regret?
Yeah, I think because her father said something to him,
No,
he implanted
no,
knowledge to him.
The Brahmana boy did not feel regret at all.
Even
Didn't
afterwards.
he feel
No,
regret
even after
Prabhu?
that curse,
After
even
he's
after that
giving him
curse.
knowledge. Prabhu, I think his
But
father
his
said
father,
something to
his
him.
father felt. Yes, Prabhu. Now remember, his
Yes.
father felt.
His father
He
felt,
said his father said to him that it was the boy's mistake to curse that great king. Okay,
Yes.
because once such a
because the king was the
king,
protector.
once such a king was killed or died, uh, the whole world would fall down going forward.
Yes, I remember that.
And I remember it's true that Maharaj Parikshit felt really, afterwards he will feel wrong, that he really
Mm.
did wrong, and he
Yes,
should have
yes,
had so much.
yes.
Sometimes we might also get this feeling when we offend someone or we do some jokes or something, we might feel really quickly that, oh, we did too much if it was really offense, and then we want to ask forgiveness.
Yeah, but it was too late because the damage was already done to him by the
Yes,
curse.
yes. This is
Okay.
really
Yeah,
interesting.
but I think it is actually something that is meant to happen. Just like Arjuna fighting the battle. He did not want to fight, but he had to fight because it was his duty. If he resisted from fighting, it was actually going to become a sin, and he was going to lose his fame.
Yes, Prabhu,
Because
this
I
is
remember his fame comes from you.
the pastimes are
Because he
really
once defeated.
Yes, Prabhu.
Sorry, Prabhu. Oh, I was saying he once defeated Lord Shiva in a battle. I saw in the purport in the Bhagavad Gita. So you cannot defeat Lord Shiva and then come fear, fighting, like let's say your brothers and sisters. Because
Yes.
Duryodhana, they were actually going to mock him. They were not going to see his humbleness. They were going to say he's a coward, even though he was not. But I know the pastimes will dribble your mind, Prabhu. They need sometimes they need you to inquire from the spiritual master.
Yes, Prabhu. And it's really interesting that the Krishna's pastime, they are not really, there's the most interesting turns, and there's all types of drama and how to say it. I don't know the words. It's, there is always the ending. It seems sad, but at the end, it's always happy. So, because in the material stories, there is usually sad ending. There is not really like happy ending or something. There is some sad ending, but here, even though there might be materially some sad seeming ending, but still, it's really always happy ending at the end.
Yes, Prabhu. Just like Ramayan, when Sita Devi was separated from Lord Ram,
Yes, Prabhu.
and then he had to fight with what, like who? Who Lord Brahma's brothers had to fight with Lord Rama's children. The two boys who lived in the Gurukul with Sita.
Yes, Prabhu.
Yeah, it was actually not a quite handsome ending.
Yes, Prabhu. Yeah, because this makes us more realize that all of us have to die one way or another. So it's better to die in some glorious way than to just die in some cat and dog way.
And Prabhu, do you know Kaikai? Is it Kaikai, Mother Kaikai, the mother of Bharat?
Kaikeya.
Kaikai, yeah, who actually had a boon from the king, and then he wanted his Bharat to be the king,
Yes.
and then Lord Rama knew that it is actually written in the destiny. It was meant to happen like that. He needed to go to all the sages first, and then he'll become a king after going there and defeating Ravan. It is actually the same when you check with Maharaj Parikshit. I think it is actually something that he had to do.
Yes, Prabhu.
We can understand that. That's okay. I am okay with that point. But the thing is, whatever Maharaj Parikshit did to that Rishi was absolutely wrong.
Yes, Prabhu. It's wrong and right at the same time.
Yeah, but Prabhu, it's like saying what Arjuna did, like with Maharaj Yudhishthira, like killing all those brothers. It is like, it's wrong. It's like when you come with logic, we're going to say it's wrong to kill.
Yes, Prabhu.
Prabhu, later in chapter, we can see that Maharaj Parikshit is himself very much embraced by his act.
Yes, Prabhu. Yeah, because this was not him acting, this was the influence. So
Prabhu, how do you see it? Like, let's say the battle.
See,
Because
battle was
Parikshit,
no. I don't find anything wrong with Pandavas at all as far as the battle is concerned. The reason is there are so many reasons why they should kill Kauravas. Entire Kauravas headed by Duryodhana. The reason is they were so they in fact, see, Kauravas tried to kill Pandavas in different ways, not only once. Okay, they were even Bhima was tried to be poisoned once. He was thrown into the river. Yeah, and even that palace was set ablaze. Okay, by Kauravas, by particularly Duryodhana. Okay, and their wife Draupadi was insulted in the center of the palace, in the center of that Sabha, entire Sabha. Okay, and later on, even they were spending time in the forest. They were tried to kill as well. Even Pandavas.
Oh, yes, Prabhu.
Okay.
But it's like, let's say now we are not using Shastra. Let's say we are using just logic, because there is a statement where
common sense. We are just trying to understand out of our own common sense here. We are not.
Yes.
You are not just going through the instructions given in any shastra. Okay, so
yes.
Kauravas definitely did offense or did crime to Pandavas. Okay, so they should be killed. Even Abhimanyu was killed in the battlefield wrongly by Karna.
But since we are using common sense, is it giving revenge? Because the Lord says, "Do not revenge." Treat your enemy right, things like that. Now we are using logic, not Shastra. Like, let me call it mental speculation, actually, because we are speculating.
So it's not revenge, Prabhu. See, in fact, see,
So if you look at the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 18, 14, there is 5 factors of action, and one of the 5 factors of action is super soul. So in this case, Krishna himself, as in the form of Paramatma, actually had instigated him to act angrily, or in a way that
But
is
why
not.
Arjuna had to fight? Why someone else?
Yes.
Someone who was not the family member, because we know Vidura also didn't fight. There was Balaram, he went somewhere else. So why Arjuna was? Because usually if your family member is beating you, it's not that you will punish your family members. The police will come and take your family member, and the judge will punish them. It's not that you will decide, okay, I will punish my family members. So one could
But
argue
Prabhu,
that
what
why
if your brother is a cop? Semi Prabhu, like let's say, what if your brother is a cop and then you fight in the house? He can still lock you up as his brother because he has a right, according to the law.
here we need to consider one more point. See, they are not just ordinary people. They are the rulers of this world. Pandavas were the rulers, and they were the inherents of their property, their assets,
they're like
the
the
entire
police.
kingdom.
Yes, Prabhu.
So they had to fight. Okay, they had to fight. Even Arjuna. In fact, the battle was not between Arjuna and Duryodhana. It was the battle between Dharmaraj and Yudhishthira and Duryodhana, because Yudhishthira was the eldest son out of the 5 Pandavas, who was responsible to rule that kingdom. Okay, so Arjuna and Bhima were just helping Yudhishthira to fight against Kauravas.
Yes, Prabhu.
Yes,
Okay.
Prabhu.
Here there is nothing wrong at all, whatever Pandavas did to Kauravas. But here in this case, that Rishi was sinless. Okay, he was meditating. Okay, and Parikshit at the same time was sinless either. Okay, but out of maybe instant anger, Parikshit did place a dead snake around the neck of the sage. Okay, so
Yes.
that
But
that
if you talk-
that is something which is inconceivable to me right now.
But I
Yes,
think he
Prabhu,
should have
he
broken his
also
meditation. I think Maharaj Pariksit thought he should have broken his meditation. He thought like
Prabhu, he was wrong, but he was not so wrong that he will be cut to death by that Brahma boy.
yes, Prabhu. Because also one thing is that the king is the representative of God, and it's like Krishna coming to your house. And if you're meditating on Vishnu or Krishna and he comes to your house, is that meditation if you don't really know that he has come to your house and you don't receive him? So maybe that's why also he thought that he's fake meditating, because he don't realize that I have came to his house and I'm the king.
No, Prabhu, if he was meditating, how can he know that someone has come?
Because he's the king.
Usually,
Maharaj Parikshit
it's
is
like,
king and Krishna is non-different because he's the representative of Krishna. So he should know if he's really meditating on Vishnu or God. He should know that he has come to my house as the form of a king. Shouldn't he know?
yeah, and it's like, Prabhu, in the olden times, it's like people, like they used to do hardest austerity, like, those types of meditation that it's like you already know that you're going to meet someone, through
Yes,
like that meditation while closing your eyes. Before you open your eyes, you could tell someone is here and you
yes.
could call his name.
But Sami bro, you are making a new point here. Okay, so this looks as if the rishi was deliberately meditating on Vishnu, and he did not want to receive Parikshit at all intentionally.
It could be. It could be like that because this was an arrangement. We don't know if he really knew that the king is there or not, but because he was in connection with Krishna and Krishna advised him that don't receive him because this is my arrangement. So that's why he didn't receive him. But we don't really know if he knew that the king is there or not. Or do we know?
And maybe
Prabhu,
because of his,
if
and
we
sometimes
chapter
his
back,
custom.
if we read full chapter, the whole story will be understood in proper way.
Yes,
Right.
Prabhu.
Yes, that's true. But as far as I know, the Rishi did not do it intentionally, Prabhu. That's for sure. Okay. We'll
Yes,
come to know
Prabhu,
about.
there was a mistake of Maharaj Parikshit Prabhu, but not that much that he would be cut to death.
Right. That's true. That's true. Yes.
Yes, Prabhu.
So meaning, Semi Prabhu, meaning like let's say with Maharaj Parikshit, if he did not do such a thing, right, he wouldn't have met, I think it's Sukadev Goswami, right?
Mm.
Or is it
Right.
Sutadev?
Yes.
He wouldn't have met
Sukadev.
him, and then maybe we would not have a chance to even read the Bhagavatam. That's
Yes,
why I
Prabhu.
think it's the leader of the Lord, you know.
So if he did wrong, then I must say he did right, because without this wrong, I couldn't be here reading with.
Yeah. It's like something like Prabhu, someone can curse you, but then it becomes a good thing.
Yes,
The
Prabhu.
curse becomes a good thing,
And
something
that's
that
the thing.
helps you.
Because that was the thing that I tried to say, that in this Krishna's pastime, always there's some curse and some drama, but always it seems to be good at the end. It seems like it's bad, but at the end it's good. It's like the opposite
And it's
effect.
like Prabhu,
Yes,
and
Prabhu,
there's one thing
Maharaj
that
Parikshit also take in that way.
Yes,
Oh,
Prabhu.
and there's something that I'm trying to trace, Prabhu. It's like the Lord like brings someone to curse him to come down to earth, but then that curse turns into a good thing because he comes to save the world. You know,
Yes.
there's where that I saw from Lord Rama that he was actually cursed. You know, to separate from Sita Devi, but then it's actually Lord Rama who did it. Like it's like Lord Krishna. You know, who did it's like he plans it that way. But then I'll find this quote
Yes, Prabhu.
in the Ramayana.
Yes, Prabhu. But actually, I don't remember much what the real answer to this is. So I think we will read it in the
It's like
purpose.
something like let's look at like the demigods, Prabhu. Like you know when Yamaraj was cursed to come down to earth, but then look how like he does good. You know, he's doing
Yeah,
like
yeah.
dharma and everything. You know, he helps others. He shows. Look, he was the only one who stood up for Drupadi. You know, and the Pandavas when they gambled the what do you call this? All the kingdom to Duryodhana and Karna and Shakuni.
Yes, Prabhu. Yeah,
You know,
Vidura.
it's like they get cursed, but then the curse turns into a good thing, you know, a good gesture, a good lila.
Yes, Prabhu. Yeah, something there must be, because if all just live happily and die without any sacrifices or doing anything, then there is no progress, I think.
Yes, Prabhu. And look at the story, Prabhu. It actually links up from Jai and Vijay when they were the gatekeepers, right? If they were not cursed by the Komar, is it the Komaras, right? If they were not cursed by the Komaras, do you think the Lord would have came?
Yes, Prabhu.
Because they were the actual demons who the Lord had to come and conquer them and to kill them and to liberate them, you know,
Yes, Prabhu.
to
This
go back to
material
the
moral
state.
loves don't work in the pastimes of the Lord.
Sorry, Prabhu.
These material morals don't work in the pastimes of the Lord.
Oh, yes, yes, Prabhu.
We think what is wrong, what is right, we always see in the perspective of material laws. So there is no wrong or right when we think about the actions of Krishna or his devotees.
Yes, yes, Prabhu.
Who was reading? Who will continue?
Okay. So it's been a long, good discussion on this topic. Fine. Uh, Text. What is this? 41. Okay. निशम्य सप्तम अथ दर्हम नरेन्द्रम स ब्राह्मणो नातम नात्मजम अभ्यनंत दत्त अहो बथाम्हो महद अद्य ते कृतम अल्पीयसी द्रोह उरुर्दमो दृष्टः धृतः synonyms. Nishamya, after hearing Saptam, cursed, Shaptam, cursed. Atadarham, never to be condemned. Nara Indram, unto the king, best of humankind. Saha, that Brahmana Rishi, not Atmajam, his own son, Abhyanandat, congratulated. Aho, alas, Bato, distressing. Amhaha, since Mahat, great. Adya, today, te, yourself, Kritam, performed. Alpiyasi, insignificant. Drohe, offense. Uruhu, Uruhu, very great. Damaha, punishment. Dritaha, awarded. Translation. The father heard from his son that the king had been cursed, although he should never have been condemned, for he was the best amongst all human beings. The rishi did not congratulate his son, but on the contrary began to repent, saying, Alas, what a great sinful act was performed by my son. He was awarded heavy punishment for an insignificant offense. Purport. The king is the best of all human beings. He is the representative of God, and he is never to be condemned for any of his actions. In other words, the king can do no wrong. The king may order hanging of a culprit son of a Brahmana, but he does not become sinful for killing a Brahmana. Even if there is something wrong with the king, he is never to be condemned.
Yes,
A
bro. This was my point also. I tried to make this point.
but still I have something to say here in this sentence as well. But anyhow,
Yes, bro.
let us keep that as it. But the thing is, in that case, we should not blame our politicians right now in this age. Whatever they do, they should not be condemned at all, as per this purport. Do you agree with this?
No, but this is like a king, but there is
No,
not a king.
now there are no king ruling right now. Okay, whatever politicians we have are the rulers. They have to be considered as kings in this world, in this age.
I doubt that, because then there was one ruler to the world. Now you have billion of rulers. I don't think they can be counted as rulers. I've never counted them as like a proper authority.
Of course, government is has to be considered as ruling agency in this world, because there are no other rulers apart from the politicians.
Hmm.
See, Pranjal Prabhu said that they barbarian are less than animals.
Yes, Prabhu. I don't, because there is nothing. They are not ruling anything. Because if you're not trying to establish God consciousness, then you cannot be thought as a ruler. You may be in control of some particular area, but that doesn't make you a king. It makes you a barbarian, actually.
But the thing is, see, if you look at that fifth line from the top, okay, even if there is something wrong with the king, he is
Yes.
never to be condemned. Here, let us say that politicians are not God conscious, and they are not spreading any God conscious movement to their
Yes.
people. That means they are doing something wrong.
Yeah, they are
But
not
still,
kings, actually, or they are not rulers. Then ruler means someone who tries to make his protect his citizens and make them God conscious. That's a ruler. But if you try to make them atheist, you cannot be a king or a ruler.
by definition, rural means one who rules the country, okay, or rule the kingdom. Okay, but since we are in this age of Kali, there are no
Yes.
specific ruler.
But if you
There are
think,
no
yeah, if you
specific.
think, but if we take a specific place, like some Israel or place, who is the ruler there? There, one guy says, I'm the ruler, one guy says, I'm the ruler. So who's the ruler?
That entire system is ruler. We are not talking
I
about a
say, I
specific
say, none
person.
of them are rulers. Actually, I say like this because we should make our own Krishna conscious society where only the devotees are rulers. Not that we should not never think that these politicians are any rulers or authority. I don't think so. But yes, Prabhu.
But anyhow, yeah, that's a good point from you. Okay. Even there is something wrong with the king, he is never to be condemned. A medical practitioner may kill a patient by mistaken treatment, but such a killer is never condemned to death. So, what to speak of a good and pious king like Maharaj Parikshit? In the Vedic way of life, the king is trained to become a Rajarshi or a great saint, although he is ruling as king. It is the king only by whose good government the citizens can live peacefully and without any fear. The Rajarshis would manage their kingdom so nicely and piously that their subjects would respect them as if they were the Lord. This is the instruction of the Vedas. The king is called Narendra, or the best amongst the human beings. How then could a king like Maharaj Parikshit be condemned by an inexperienced, puffed up son of a Brahmana, even though he attained the powers of a qualified Brahmana? The Samik Rishi, since he was an experienced good Brahmana, did not approve of the actions of his condemned son. He began to lament for all that his son had done. The king was beyond the jurisdiction of curses as a general rule, and what to speak of a good king like Maharaj Parikshit? The offense of the king was the most insignificant, and his being condemned to death was certainly a very great sin for Shringi. Therefore, the Rishi Samik regretted the whole incident. Text 44. Navai Nibhir Nara Devam Parakhyam Sammatum Arhyasi Avipakva Buddhe Yat Tejasa Durvishahena Gupta Vindanti भद्राण्यकृतो भयात् प्रजाः synonyms na never. Why? As a matter of fact, Nibihi by any man, Naradevam unto a man good, Parakhyam who is transcendental, Samaktum place on equal footing, Arhasi deserve, Avipakva unripe or immature, Buddhe intelligence, Yat by whose Tejasa by the prowess, Durvishayena unsurpassable, Guptaha protected, Vindanti enjoys, Bhadrani all prosperity, Akutaha Bhayaha completely dependent, Prajaha the subjects. Translation: Oh my boy, your intelligence is immature, and therefore you have no knowledge that the king, who is the best amongst human beings, is as good as the personality of Godhead. Therefore, he is never to be placed on an equal footing with common man. The citizens of the state live in prosperity, being protected by his unsurpassable prowess. Text 43. Alakshamane Naradevanamne Namni रथांगा पाणाव अयम अंग लोकः तदा हि चुर प्रचुरो विनङ्क्ष्यति अरक्ष्यमाणो विवरूतवत् क्षणात् synonyms alakshamane Alakshamane, being abolished, Naradeva, monarchical, Namni, of the name, Ratha Anga Panav, the representation of the Lord. I am this Anga, O my boy, Lokaha, this world, Tada he, at once, Chaura, thieves, Prachuraha, too much, Vinakshati, Vinakshati, vanquishes Arakshyamanah, being protected Avivarutavat, like lambs Kshanat at once. Translation: My dear boy, the Lord who carries the wheel of a chariot is represented by the monarchical regime, and when this regime is abolished, the whole world becomes filled with thieves who then at once vanquish the unprotected subjects like scattered lambs. Purport: According to the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, the monarchical regime represents the Supreme Lord, the personality of Godhead. The king is said to be the representative of the absolute personality of Godhead because he is trying to acquire the qualities of God to protect the living beings. The battle of Kurukshetra was planned by the Lord to establish the real representative of the Lord, Maharaj Parikshit, an ideal king thoroughly trained by culture and devotional service with the martial spirit makes a perfect king. Such a personal monarchy is far better than the so called democracy of no training and responsibility. The thieves and rogues of modern democracies seek election by malrepresentation of votes, and the successful rogues and thieves devour these mass of population. One trained monarch is far better than hundreds of useless ministerial rogues, and it is hinted herein that by abolition of a monarchical regime like that of Maharaj Parikshit, the mass of people become open to many attacks of the age of Kali. They are never happy in an overly advertised form of democracy. The result of such a kingless administration is described in the following verses. Text 44. तदद्यन्नः पापम् उपैत्यानन् वयं यन् नष्ट नाथस्य पशोर्विलुम्पकात् परास्परं घ्नन्ति शपन्ति वृञ्जते पशून् स्त्रियोर्थान् पुरु दशवो ज्ञानः. Synonyms. Tat. For this reason, Adya, from this day, Naha, upon us, Papam, reaction of sin, Upaiti, will overtake Ananyavayam, Ananvayam, disruption, yet, because Nashta, abolished, Nathasya, of the monarchy, Vashoh, of wealth, Vilumpakat, being plundered, Parasparam, between one another, Gnanti, will kill, Shapanti, will do harm, Vrinjate, will steal, Pashun, animals, Striyaha, women, Arthan, riches, Puru, greatly, Dashyavaha, thieves, Janaha, the mass of people. Translation: Due to the termination of the monarchical regimes and the plundering of the people's wealth by rogues and thieves, there will be great social disrupts. People will be killed and injured, and animals and women will be stolen. And for all these sins, we shall be responsible. Purport: The word Naha, we, is very significant in this verse. The sage rightly takes the responsibility of the Brahmanas as a community for killing monarchical government and thus giving an opportunity to the so-called democrats who are generally plunderers of the wealth of the state subjects. The so-called democrats capture the administrative machine without assuming responsibility for the prosperous condition of the citizens. Everyone captures the post for personal gratification, and thus, instead of one king, a number of irresponsible kings grow up to tax the citizens. It is foretold herein that in the absence of good monarchical government, everyone will be the cause of disturbance for others by plundering riches, animals, women, etc. Text 45. Tadarya dharmaha प्रविलीयते नृणां वर्णाश्रमाचार युतस्य त्रयी मयः ततोऽर्थ कामाभिनिवेशितात्मनां शुनां कपीनाम् इव शङ्करः synonyms. Tada, at that time, Arya, progressive civilization, Dharma, engagement, Praviliyate, is systematically vanquished. Pranam of humankind, Varna, caste, Ashrama, orders of society, Achara Yuktaha, composed in a good manner, Trayi Mayaha, in terms of the Vedic injunction. Tataha, thereafter, Artha, economic development, Kama, Abhiniveshita, fully absorbed in sense gratification, Atmanam, of men, Shunam, like dogs, Kapinam, like monkeys, Eva, thus, Varna Shankara, unwanted population. Translation. At that time, the people in general will fall systematically from the path of a progressive civilization in respect to the qualitative engagements of the castes and orders of society and the Vedic injunctions. Thus, they will be more attracted to economic development for sense gratification, and as a result, there will be an unwanted population on the level of dogs and monkeys. Purport. It is foretold herein that in the absence of a monarchical regime, the general mass of people will be an unwanted population like dogs and monkeys. As the monkeys are too sexually inclined and dogs are shameless in sexual uh, intercourse, the general mass of population born of illegitimate illegitimate connection will systematically go astray from the Vedic way of good manners and qualitative engagements in the caste and orders of life. The Vedic way of life is the progressive march of the civilization of the Aryans. The Aryans are progressive in Vedic civilization. The Vedic civilization's destination is to go back to Godhead, back home, where there is no birth, no death, no old age, and no disease. The Vedas direct everyone not to remain in the darkness of the material world, but to go towards the light of the spiritual kingdom far beyond the material sky. The qualitative caste system and the orders of life are scientifically planned by the Lord and his representatives, the great rishis. The perfect way of life gives all sorts of instruction in the things, both material and spiritual. The Vedic way of life does not allow any man to be like the monkeys and dogs. A degraded civilization of sense gratification and economic development is the byproduct of a godless or kingless government of the people by the people and for the people. The people should not therefore begrudge the poor administrators they themselves elect. Text 46. Dharmapalo narapatihi swatu samrad brihacha charvayat charvayah sakshan महाभागवतो राजर्षिर्हय मेधयात् श्रमयुतो दीनो नैवास्मच्च नैवास्मच्चापम् अर्हति. Synonyms. Dharmapalaha, the protector of religion. Narapatihi, the king. Saha, he, too, but. Samrat, emperor. Brihat, highly. Shravah, celebrated. Sakshat, directly. Maha Bhagavataha, the first class devotee of the Lord. Rajarshihi, saint amongst the royal order, Haya Medhavayat, great performer of horse sacrifices, Kshut, hunger, thrit, thirst, Shrama Yuktaha, tired and fatigued, Dinaha, stricken, Na, never, Eva, thus, Asmat, by us, Shapam, curse, Arhati, deserves. Translation: that Emperor Parikshit is a pious king. He is highly celebrated and is a first class devotee of the personality of Godhead. He is a saint amongst royalty and he has performed many horse sacrifices. When such a king is tired and fatigued, being stricken with hunger and thirst, he does not at all deserve to be cursed. Purport.
But in this verse also it's said that the reason is wrong. Like it seems like the reason is wrong because here they said that the reason was because he was tired and fatigued, but that's not the reason why he cursed. Because he cursed because of the snake. Let's see what the purport says.
Yes. After explaining the general codes relating to the royal position and asserting that the king can do no wrong and therefore is never to be condemned, the sage Shamik wanted to say something about Emperor Parikshit specifically. The specific qualification of Maharaj Parikshit is summarized herein. The king even calculated as a king the king, even calculated as a king only, was most celebrated as a ruler who administrated the religious principles of the royal order. In the Shastras, the duties of all castes and orders of society are prescribed. All the qualities of a Kshatriya mentioned in the Bhagavad Gita 1843 were present in the person of the emperor. He was also a great devotee of the Lord and a self realized soul. Cursing such a king when he was tired and fatigued with hunger and thirst was not at all proper. The Shimik Rishi thus admitted from all sides that Maharaj Parikshit was cursed most unjustly. Although all the Brahmanas were aloof from the incidents, still for the childish action of a Brahmana boy, the whole world situation was changed. Thus the Rishi Shamik, a Brahmana, took responsibility for all deterioration of the good orders of the world. X47. Apapeshu, apapeshu, स्वभृत्येषु बालेनापक्व बुद्धिना पापं कृतं तद् भगवान् सर्वात्मा क्षन्तुम् अर्हति. Synonyms. Apesh, apapeshu, unto one who is completely free from all sins. Swa Prithvyeshu, unto one who is subordinate and deserves to be protected. Balena, by a child. Apakva, who is immature. Buddhina, by intelligence. Papam, sinful act. Kritam, has been done. Tat Bhagavan, therefore the personality of Godhead. Sarva Atma, who is all pervading. Shantum, just to pardon. Arhati, deserve. Translation. Then the Rishi prayed to the all pervading personality of Godhead to pardon his immature boy who had no intelligence and who committed the great sin of cursing a person who was completely free from all sins, who was subordinate and who deserved to be protected. Purport. Everyone is responsible.
This reminded me a little bit of Gora Shakti Prabhu's story in the beginning.
Hmm.
Really similar thing.
Okay. Purport. Everyone is responsible for his own action, either pious or sinful. The Rishi Sami could foresee that his son had committed a great sin by cursing Maharaj Parishit, who deserved to be protected by the Brahmanas. He was a pious ruler and completely free from all sins because of his being a first-class devotee of the Lord. When an offense is done unto the devotee of the Lord, it is very difficult to overcome the reaction. The Brahmanas, being at the head of the social orders, are meant to give protection to their subordinates and not to curse them. There are occasions when a Brahmana may furiously curse a subordinate Kshatriya or Vaishya, etc. But in the case of Maharaj Parikshit, there was no grounds as already explained. The foolish boy had done it out of sheer vanity in being a Brahmana's son, and thus he became liable to be punished by the law of God. The Lord never forgives a person who condemns his pure devotee. Therefore, the foolish Shringi had not only committed a sin by cursing a king, but also the greatest offense. Therefore, the Rishi could foresee that only the Supreme Personality of Godhead could save his boy from his sinful reaction. He therefore directly prayed for pardon from the Supreme Lord, who alone can undo a thing which is impossible to change. The appeal was made in the name of a foolish boy who had developed no intelligence at all. A question may be raised herein that since it was the desire of the Lord that Parikshit Maharaj was put into that awkward position so that he might be delivered from material existence, then why was a Brahmana son made responsible for this offensive act? The answer is that the offensive act was performed by a child only so that he could be excused very easily, and thus the prayer of the father was accepted. But if the question is raised why the Brahmana community as a whole was made responsible for allowing Kali into the world affairs, the answer is given in the Varaha Purana that the demons who acted inimically toward the personality of Godhead but were not killed by the Lord were allowed to take birth in the families of the Brahmanas to take advantage of the years of Kali. Mhm. The all merciful Lord gave them a chance to have their births in the families of the pious Brahmanas so that they could progress toward salvation. But the demons, instead of utilizing the good opportunity, misused the Brahmanic culture due to being puffed up by vanity in becoming Brahmanas. The typical example is the son of Samika Rishi and all the foolish sons of Brahmanas are warned hereby not to become as foolish as Shringi and be always on guard against the demonic qualities which they had in their previous births. The foolish boy was, of course, excused by the Lord, but others who may not have a father like Shamik Rishi will be put into great difficulty if they misuse the advantages obtained by birth in a Brahmana family. Hmm. Text 48. Tiraskrita vipralabdhaः शाप्ताः क्षिप्ता हता अपि नास्य तत् प्रतिकुर्वन्ति तद् भक्तः प्रभवोऽपि हि synonyms. Tirakkritaha, being defamed, vipralabdhaः, being cheated, shaptaha, being cursed, Shiptaha, disturbed by negligence, Hataha, or even being killed, Api, also, Na, never, Asya, for all these acts, Tat, them, Pratikurvanti, counteract, Tat, the Lord's, Bhaktaha, Bhaktaha, devotees, Prabhavaha, powerful, Api, although he, certainly. Translation. The devotees of the Lord are so. Come down, Prabhu. The devotees of the Lord are so. Ah, the devotees of the Lord are so forbearing that even though they are defamed, cheated, cursed, disturbed, neglected, or even killed, they are never inclined to avenge themselves. Purport. Rishi Samik also knew that the Lord does not forgive a person who has committed an offense at the feet of a devotee. The Lord can only give direction to that to take shelter of the devotee only. He thought within himself that if Maharaj Parikshit would counter curse the boy, he might be saved. But he knew also that a pure devotee is callous about worldly advantages or reverses. As such, the devotees are never inclined to counteract personal defamation, curses, negligences, etc. As far as such things are concerned in personal affairs, the devotees don't care for them. But in case of their being performed against the Lord and his devotees, then the devotee takes very strong action. It was a personal affair, and therefore Shamik Rishi knew that the king would not take counteraction. Thus, there was no other alternative than to place an appeal to the Lord for the immature boy. It is not that only the Brahmanas are powerful enough to award curses or blessings upon the subordinates, but the devotee of the Lord, even though he may not be a Brahmana, is more powerful than a Brahmana. But a powerful devotee never misuses the power for personal benefit. Whatever power the devotee may have is always utilized in service towards the Lord and his devotees only. Text 49. Iti putra कृताघ्येन सोऽनुतप्तो महामुनिः स्वयं विप्रकृतो राज्ञा नैवाङ्घं तत् अचिन्तयत् synonyms iti thus putra son krita done by aghena by the sin saha he the muni anutaptaha regretting mahamunihi the sage swayam personally viprakritaha being so insulted rajna the king na not eva certainly angham the sin tat that achintayat thought of it. Translation. The sage thus regretted the sin committed by his own son. He did not take the insult paid by the king very seriously. Purport. The whole instance is now cleared up. Maharaj Parshit's garlanding the sage with a dead snake was not at all a very serious offense, but Shringi's cursing the king was a serious offense. The serious offense was committed by a foolish child only. Therefore, he deserved to be pardoned by the Supreme Lord, although it was not possible to get free from the sinful reaction. Maharaj Parikshit also did not mind the curse offered to him by a foolish Brahmana. On the contrary, he took full advantage of the awkward situation, and by the great will of the Lord, Maharaj Parikshit achieved the highest perfection of life through the grace of Sri Sukadeva Goswami. Actually, it was the desire of the Lord, and Maharaj Parikshit, Rishi Samik, and his son Shringi were all instrumental in fulfilling the desire of the Lord. So none of them were put into difficulty because everything was done in relation with the supreme person. Text 50. Prajñah साधवो लोके परैर्द्वन्द्वेषु द्वन्द्वेषु योजिताः न व्यथान्ति न हृष्यन्ति यथा आत्मा आत्मा अगुणाश्रयः. Synonyms. Prayashah, generally sadhava, saints, loke in this world, paraihi by others, dvandveshu in duality, yojitaha being engaged na never vyathanti distressed, nor Krishyanti, takes pleasure yataha, because Atma, self, aguna, ashrayaha, transcendental. Translation. Generally, the transcendentalists, even though engaged by others in the duties of the spiritual material world, are not distressed, nor do they take pleasure in worldly things, for they are transcendently engaged. Purport. The transcendentalists are the empiric philosophers, mystics, and the devotees of the Lord. Empiric philosophers aim at the perfection of merging into the being of the absolute. The mystics aim at perceiving the all pervading super soul, and the devotees of the Lord are engaged in the transcendental loving service of the personality of Godhead. Since Brahman, Paramatma, or Bhagavan are different phases of the same transcendence, all these transcendentalists are beyond the three modes of material nature. Material distresses and happinesses are products of the three modes, and therefore the causes of such material distress and happiness have nothing to do with the transcendentalists. The king was a devotee and the rishi was a mystic. Therefore, both of them were unattached to the accidental incidents created by the supreme will. The playful child was an instrument in fulfilling the Lord's will. Thus end the Bhaktivedanta purports of the first canto, 18th chapter of the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, entitled Maharaj Parikshit cursed by a Brahmana boy.
Ribo. Thank you so
Very
much.
good.
Really nice chapter.
Hmm.
Okay, now let's go to six Astakam prayers. Is 19 the last one, or is there one more?
19th is the last one, I think so.
Yes, Prabhu.
Yes, bro, last one.
Thus ends the first canto.
Yes, Prabhu. Cheto darpanam bhavamaha nirvapanam shreyah kairava chandrika vitaranam vidyavadu jivanam anandam buddhivardhanam pratipadam purnamritasvadanam sarvatma snapanam param vijayate Sri Krishna Sankirtanam.
नाम्नामकारि बहुधा निज सर्व शक्तिश्च तत्रार्पिता नियमिताः स्मरणेन कालः एतादृशी तव कृपा भगवन् ममापि दुर्दैवम् ईदृशम् इहाजनि नानुरागः.
Triangadapi sunicena taragorapi sayatana Manyamanadena kirtanaya sadhari.
Nadanam
न जनम न सुंदरीं कवितां वा जगदीश कामये मम जन्मनि जन्मनीश्वरे भवताद् भक्तिरहैतुकी त्वयि.
Ainandatanyu kinkaram patitam mam vismimam budhau Kripayadav pad pankaja sthita dhuli sadhisam vichintaya.
Ayanam galadashrudaraya vatanam gadgadarudaya gira pulakairnichitam apu kada tava nama grahane bhavishyati.
युगायितं निमीषेण चक्षुषा प्रावृषायिताम् इतं शून्यायितं जगत्सर्वं गोविन्द विरहेण मे.
Aslisvapadaratam pinashtumam adarsanam narmahatam karotua yatha tatha va vidhatulam bato madhuprananathastu sayo na parah.
Glory to the Sri Krishna Sankirtan, which cleanses the heart of all the dust accumulated for years and extinguishes the fire of conditional life of repeated birth and death. The Sankirtan movement is the prime benediction for humanity at large, because it spreads the rays of the benediction moon. It is the life of all transcendental knowledge. It increases the ocean of transcendental bliss, and it enables us to fully taste the nectar for which we are always anxious.
O my Lord, your holy name alone can render all benediction to living beings, and thus you have hundreds and millions of names like Krishna and Govinda. In these transcendental names, you have invested all your transcendental energies. There are not even hard and fast rules for chanting these names. Oh my Lord, out of kindness, you enable us to easily approach you by chanting your holy names. But I am so unfortunate that I have no attraction for them.
One should chant the holy name of the Lord in a humble state of mind, thinking oneself lower than the straw in the street. One should be more tolerant than a tree, devoid of all sense of false prestige, and ready to offer all respect to others. In such a state of mind, one can chant the holy name of the Lord constantly.
O Almighty Lord, I have no desire to accumulate wealth, nor do I desire beautiful women, nor do I want any number of followers. I only want your causeless devotional service birth after birth.
O son of Maharaj Nanda, I am your eternal servant, yet somehow or other I have fallen into the ocean of birth and death. Please pick me up from this ocean of death and place me as one of the atoms of your lotus feet.
O my Lord, when will my eyes be decorated with tears of love flowing constantly when I chant your holy name? When will my voice choke up and when will the hairs of my body stand on end at the recitation of your name?
O Govinda, feeling your separation, I'm considering a moment to be like 12 years or more. Tears are flowing from my eyes like torrents of rain, and I'm feeling all vacant in the world in your absence.
I know no one but Krishna as my Lord, and he shall remain so, even if he handles me roughly in his embrace or makes me broken hearted by not being present before me. He is completely free to do anything and everything, for he is always my worshipful Lord unconditionally.
Bol, Shri Siksastakam ki jai, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu ki jai.
Jai.
Bahu Janma Karaya Yadishavana Kirtan Dabutana Paya Krishna Pade Premadan. If one is infested with the 10 offenses in the chanting of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, despite his endeavor to chant the holy name for many birds, he will not get the love of God. That is the ultimate goal of this chanting. The 10 offenses to the holy name are as follows. The first offense is to blaspheme the devotees who have dedicated their lives for propagating the holy name.
Second offense is to consider the names of demigods like Lord Shiva or Lord Brahma to be equal to or independent of the name of Lord Vishnu.
Third offense to disobey the orders of the spiritual master or consider him as an ordinary person.
Fourth offense is to blaspheme the Vedic literature or literature in pursuance of the Vedic version.
Fifth offense to consider the glories of chanting Hare Krishna to be imagination.
Sixth offense is to give some interpretation on the holy name of the Lord.
Seventh offense to commit sinful activities on the strength of the holy name.
Eighth offense is to consider the chanting of Hare Krishna, one of the auspicious ritualistic activities offered in the Vedas as fruitive activities, Karma Kanda.
Ninth offense to instruct the faithless person about the glories of the holy name.
Tenth offense is not to have complete faith in the chanting of the holy names and to maintain material attachments even after understanding so many instructions on this matter. It is also an offense to be inattentive while chanting. Every devotee who claims to be a Vaishnava must guard against these offenses in order to quickly achieve the desired success, Krishna Prema.
Let us offer humble obeisances unto all the Vaishnava devotees of the Lord. They can fulfill the desires of everyone just like desired trees, and they are full of compassion for the fallen conditioned souls. Vancha kalpatarupyascha kripa sindubheva cha patitanam
Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo namo.
Nanda Gaudiya Vaishnavinda ki jai, Shra Prabhupada ki jai, Nitai Gaura Prem Nande, Hari Hari Bol.
Hari Hari Bol.
Thank you so much for association, Prabhu. Thank you, Praveen Prabhu, for reading and the nice discussion.